1140 The Fan.
Talkin Money!
And the action continues on Talkin Money with Jeff Tarbell.
Right. How you doing?
Doing good. How's everybody else?
Did we get a winner to our quiz question? Yeah, got a few of them there. So, what's the guy's name?
Carl Kistner.
Carl. We have to find out where Carl is because he might be throwing one heck of a party. So, Carl was working in his attic and he found something.
Yeah, let's see. Carl Kistner picked up a soot-covered cardboard box.
Probably had a wood fireplace.
Could have. And this happened to be underneath a wooden dollhouse in his grandfather's attic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what was in it?
It was a couple baseball cards.
A couple?
Yeah, a couple of them. Some of the names on them were Ty Cobb, Cy Young, Honus Wagner, couple folks back in the early 1900s.
I've heard of them.
Yep. And there's a little bit of value to these cards. How much you think?
Well,
old grandfather's attic, just sitting there in a little box.
So just those cards alone have got to be worth. I'm not a good card collector guy, though. I would guess, $500,000-600,000 if they had some real good cards in there.
Yeah. Keep multiplying.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Million.
$3 million.
$3 million worth of cards.
$3 million worth of cards in a little soot-covered cardboard box.
Like winning the lotto.
You better go check your attic on that new
I don't
place.
have. Well, I think I discovered through the disclosures that I won't find soot-covered boxes of baseball cards. I'll find soot-covered boxes of marijuana paraphernalia. I think that the one of the previous owners has lost his house because he was using it as a growing operation. Some there too. So it's income producing, right? As long as I put it on my application, house can generate income.
Good luck with that loan.
Off the text line. Where did I see that? There was a comment there about it probably was an appraiser saying, here you go. You can't. I just lost it. Appraiser cannot value a property on 40 acres if it was on just 5 anymore. So that might be a change from the appraisal world, which I was unaware of. So there you go. See, things are changing all the time. A lot of textures on the $3 million. Okay, we're still looking for a couple more ideas. I'm going to pick one of these here pretty quick. Text me at 441140. What is that one item? If you're just tuning in now, then wake up. We start at 9. What is that one item in your house? If you're going to go through a major remodel, or you're going to buy a new place, you're going to build a new place, you say, you know what? No matter what, I just want this. And we like the Whole House fan is a good example of an item that is not expensive.
Right. That's a make sense item.
Yeah, but it is super, super nice to have.
Especially last night.
Particularly in a 2-story house where you get drafted up the hot air upstairs. Mm-hmm. So that's a great one because it is. I mean, you can put them in any house. That is not a big ticket item, but it certainly is a very, very convenient item. So, what is the item you have to have in your house at 441140? Off the text, we got a couple people holding here too. We'll see here. Off the text line, Jeff, I owe $520. Appraisal probably $550. My rate's 5 1/8. Bank B of A. Not sure whether it's Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Do I have refinance options? First off, it is not Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Their cap currently is $417 for loans, and if you go back a few years, if you hadn't, that's grown from $180,000 way back to $417 over the last few years. So if you're over $417, it's not a Fannie or Freddie loan. Your option would be, your only option you would have in your case would be FHA, because in our area, FHA will go to $580. You only need 3.5% equity in it, which you've got. Your rate's 5 1/8. The FHA rate would be about probably 3.5, but you're going to have what's called monthly mortgage insurance, and that's a fairly stiff number.
Yep.
And it may wipe out the savings of going from 5 1/8 to 3.5 of the mortgage insurance. Now, here's the upside to that. You may not save a tremendous amount of money by doing that. You probably save some.
Save a little bit, sure.
You'll save some. But you have two things you've done now if you switch over to FHA on that program. One, you've taken a loan that is now assumable, because FHA has an assumption characteristic with their loans. And you say, okay, well, why would someone want to assume my loan? Well, let's think about this for a second. Your house is $550 today. It'll be $6 something whenever you want to sell, whatever. And you go out and John wants to come by your house and he says, okay, I'll give you $600,000 for it. And John calls me and says, what are the rates on the $600,000 market? And I say, oh, yeah, this is 4 or 5 years from now. Well, I think I can get you 7.5 if you pay a point. John's like, whoa. Last time I bought my house, it was 3.5. So then the seller says to you in the 916, or the seller says to John, hey, by the way, I have this 3.5%, 3.75% assumable mortgage. All of a sudden, John's eyes get about this big, because all he's got to do is put down the difference between the mortgage and the purchase price, and he can assuming he qualifies, he can assume this 3.5% mortgage. So that's number one. You've increased the marketability, I think, of your house down the road. Number two, mortgage insurance can go away. In the FHA world, it takes 5 years, and you must have 22% equity in it. But think about that for a moment. You're locking in that 3.5 or 3.75 rate now. Yeah, the mortgage insurance is going to be $300 or $400 a month. But at some point in time, if you stay around in that house long enough and you're paying it down and it goes up in value, that $300 or $400 can drop off. Then you're left with a payment that's really low and that 3.5 or whatever rate you got. So there is, it gives you another bite at the apple down the road when rates go up.
Right.
So
you got to run the numbers.
You got to run the numbers.
Sure.
I mean, if you're just doing it and it breaks even, then don't do it.
No.
Don't spend don't spend the money to do it.
FHA won't allow you to anyway.
Yeah, well, he's going from conventional to FHA, so he wouldn't have to meet the.
You're still gonna have an underwriter.
Yeah, you still have to make sense. Right. Has to make sense. But if it's not the home run you think it could be, then think about the other two factors on there, and
right.
maybe that helps you, maybe it doesn't. From the 530, I want to buy a rental property and keep my condo that I purchased in 2010. Is that possible? Sure. Why not? I want to buy a rental property and keep my condo that I purchased in 2010. So as a general rule, when you're buying your first rental property, you're going to need 20% down or more. And secondly, for the most part, an underwriter or lender is going to look at you and say they're going to treat that as almost like a second home. They're going to make you qualify for the condo you're living in now. I'm assuming that's your primary residence, and this rental property that you want to buy, without the benefit of the rent you can generate from it helping you make the payments. You're going to have to qualify for both on the first one. Once you establish a history of owning rentals and maintaining rentals, they're on your tax returns, we'll give you generally 75% of the rental value to help you kind of offset the payment for qualifying. But on the first one, you probably got to look at qualifying for both. I hope that answers your question. If it does not, you can call us like Nick has done at 339-1140. Hey, Nick, welcome to Talkin Money. How you doing?
Good. Hey, I have a question for you. I've been hearing a lot of advertisement about cash call. They're advertising 2.9 on a 15-year note.
Okay.
Are you familiar with that product? And is it a reliable company?
So, do I want to promote my competitor or do I want to put them down? Am I familiar with that product? You can get any rate you want on any loan program at any time. It is all a function of cost. Where the difference lies is in how and when you get the rate. My experience with a lot of the internet companies that are doing a lot of telemarketing and a lot of radio marketing outside our area is that they can be prone to a bait and switch. And I'm not saying that cash call is or isn't. Remember, they're advertising a very low rate to get you to call, and then depending on your credit score and your loan to value and the other things too, your rate will be adjusted depending on your specific needs. And lastly, a lot of these lenders, when they were quoting these prices to you, are quoting a 7 to a 15-day lock on a process that takes anywhere from 30 days to 3 months, depending on who you're dealing with. So you're subject to having the market move while you're in the process, and they will lock you in at the end. And then it has been common for someone to say, oh, well, you know what, the market was off this week, and so this is our new deal, or your credit score was off, and blah, blah, blah. So I always tell everybody, all they're trying to do is make the phone ring, and that's no different than the way I advertise. I just want people to call me, right? And then I will give you the realistic expectations based on your credit and the other things too. My experience with a lot of people you're calling on these big wholesale houses is that the people that they're hiring down there aren't really qualified lenders. They're telemarketers, so they will tell you what's on their script, and you will not find out till a little later. And a little later could be maybe a week later, maybe a month later, what the real deal is when someone actually underwrites your loan and look at it. Well, my job is to underwrite your loan as best as I can over the phone, and then write up right up front, so I can look at it and say, hey, I already know this is going to push you over here or over here based on my experience. So, don't be afraid to check out them and others, but just be aware that, when they advertise these super low rates and programs, they're doing that to get the phone ring. It may or may not apply to you.
Yep, it's advertising.
Right. Okay, hey, can I follow up another question?
Sure can.
Okay, we've been, there was a couple of properties, there were probate sales and good value. We, the lender told us that we could use a loan from another business that we have. That's an annual ongoing rate. It's a farm loan that we could use that farm loan as long as it's a guaranteed loan. Basically, the crop is what guarantees it, that we could use that money as a down payment. So now, as the time went on, well, that account, obviously it's ever changing because, this is when all the bills happen. It's a rice business. So once the bills started flowing, they kind of got freaked out. And so I don't know if the local guy here told me the wrong information, but, I've been going back and forth with this operation for quite a long time. Should I just, I think I could get my earnest deposit back, obviously, but there was also an appraisal fee tied to it, and he pretty much guaranteed me that it was going to go through. And, meanwhile now he's saying, well, we need to look at a 60-day average of your bank account, and it's got to be over this. But, that essentially the money that was in that account was ours anyways.
Right.
A portion of it. So, and it's kind of a confusing situation. Do you have any input on that?
Well, first off, generally, with most companies, when you pay an appraisal fee up front, you're paying an independent appraisal firm to do an analysis of the house you want to buy or refinance, and you're really, at most part, you're at risk for that money, because you have, generally you have to bring in the appraisal, with your loan package, and this flow of funds, money flowing in and out, and transfers coming in and out, it is the number one problem in the industry right now is tracking money. Money's coming, money's going. It's very, very difficult. It's almost, you almost need everybody just to freeze for 30 to 45 days and just don't do anything. Don't move any money. Don't add any money. Don't subtract any money. Just stop for just a little bit. And in your case, where you've got farm money coming in, loan money coming in, you're paying bills with it and moving in and out, and trying to use that as reserves, you're trying to use that as down payment money, and it's going and it's coming. It could be very, very difficult. And I wouldn't say that it's the lender's fault that they can't get it done. You're just in a unique situation that makes it very, very difficult for someone to track what's going on, and to go back to them and say, well, if you can't do my loan, I want my appraisal money back. I don't know if you can ask them, I guess, but I would say that you're probably at risk of losing your appraisal funds just because of the uniqueness of your scenario. There's probably no originator on the front side that can look at that and give you an honest answer, because the thing's probably changed 4 times since he first met with you. And is this kind of coming and going. So that's a very difficult situation, Nick, and I can appreciate both sides of it. But I would say that if you want to back out of the deal, just get your escrow deposit back. Trying to beat somebody back down for the appraisal money back, frankly, the work's been done. It didn't go to the lender; it went to the appraiser, and they haven't been enriched either. So I don't. You may just have to call that a learning lesson and walk from that. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not really too concerned about the appraisal costs, but the problem is this is a pretty good deal, and he should have told me all of this up front. I would have. It's funny you should say about the 30 days. He just told me that the other day. Well, we started this process in March, and what set the underwriter off was that there was a good-sized check that came in, and they're going, well, where did this money come from?
Exactly.
And I go, well, I told you this, that this is what was going to happen, and we just don't feel right about freezing that account because those bills got to be paid.
Yep.
And I don't know, it's been a mess, and frankly, we were talking for the 2 houses, it was $80,000 total. And, and then it was 25% down. We had the cash, but, we gave them, we shouldn't have gave them we probably should have done something a little bit different, like put it into an account and freeze it for 35, 60 days.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. And Nick, I got to take a quick break. I appreciate your call, and I agree that you probably, well, if you do it again next time, you'll know. You'll have learned something as much as the other people too. We'll put Nick on hold. We'll get Nick out a pair of Rivercast tickets or whatever he wants to do there. If he wants maybe some Jim Boys talk, we got to take a quick break. You got a quiz question or no?
Yes, I do.
Okay, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text me at 441140.
We're going to go back to some European flair with the Olympics and different things going on across the world. So the question is, a lot of countries out there looking to fill board seats.
Okay.
Which country has the largest percentage of women on their board?
Yeah, because there's one country's going to make a law forcing them to do that, right?
Yeah, Italy.
Italy's proposing a law. You have to have a certain number of women on the board. Okay, so which country has, in their businesses, has the largest women on the boards of different companies? 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You can text us at 441140. This is Talkin Money. My name is Jeff Tarbell.
This is John Fotorero.
We'll be
right back.